my wife. She killed our daughter's dream, and with it, the dream of our home. The price of the secret she buried wasn't just money, it was the entire future of our family. These words, I struggled for a long time to even utter them. Now, sitting in this empty rented apartment on the outskirts of Denver, Colorado, looking at an old family photo on the shelf, I still ask myself, was I too blind? Were the signs there, right from the beginning? And I, a simple man who just knew how to work hard, didn't see them. I used to believe in dreams, not pipe dreams, but concrete ones, tangible through the calloused hands of a builder. A bigger house for the family, a trip to Disney World for Lily, our 5-year-old daughter, so she could meet the princesses she always dreamed of, and a solid joint savings fund, as strong as a concrete wall, with $500 every month, a fixed, non-negotiable amount. That was the plan I laid out, forged from frugal days, from sweat dripping on construction sites. Emily, my wife, agreed to it all. Her radiant smile made me believe we were building a future together. Oh, that smile. It spectacularly deceived me, deceived my trust. I never imagined that while I was sweating to build, she was secretly tearing everything down. You know, when you love someone, you trust them absolutely. You give them not just your heart, but your future. I did that with Emily. I thought she did too. I put too much faith in that smile, too much faith in us, and perhaps that was the biggest mistake of my life. A mistake I'm paying for every day. Our life in Denver, Colorado, before everything fell apart, was the epitome of a typical middle-class family. I, Mark, am a construction worker. The work is tough, but I love the feeling of seeing a structure take shape from my own hands. Every brick, every concrete block placed just right. Emily worked as a secretary at a small law office downtown. Her job was lighter, requiring meticulousness and communication. We met at a small coffee shop 8 years ago, and I was captivated by her warm smile and expressive eyes. Everything progressed naturally, simply yet full of love. This 2-story house on the outskirts, though not huge, was a fortune to us. I spent months renovating it, personally painting walls, fixing the roof, and even designing a small backyard for Lily to run around in. Every nail I hammered, every brushstroke, I envisioned Lily's joyous laughter, her footsteps echoing in the bigger house we were working towards. Emily often brought me water when I worked, sometimes even helped me hold tools. At that time, I believed we were a team, a unified front working towards a common goal. Lily's Disney World dream was no joke. Our little girl, with her golden hair and clear blue eyes, was always the light of my life. Since she was 3, Lily had been obsessed with Disney princesses. She could sit for hours watching animated movies, drawing clumsy pictures of fairy tale castles and enchanted gardens. "Daddy, when do I get to meet a real Princess Ariel at Disney?" she asked every night, her eyes sparkling with hope. Every time I heard that question, my heart melted. I swore I would make it happen, no matter the difficulties. It wasn't just Lily's dream, it was my own dream. To see my daughter utterly happy. We had clearly agreed on the financial plan. $500 every month, not a penny less. That money would be transferred directly into a separate savings account, called the Future Fund. Emily was the primary manager, as she seemed more meticulous than me with paperwork. I trusted her implicitly. But then, the first cracks began to appear, so small that I didn't notice them, or deliberately ignored them. Sometimes, strange packages, unlabeled shoeboxes, paper bags from online stores I'd never heard of would appear and quickly disappear into a corner of the living room. At first, I didn't pay much attention. I thought Emily was shopping for Lily, or for upcoming holidays. "Buying something, honey?" I'd ask, thinking she was getting things for Lily. "Yeah, stuff for the kid," she'd reply, but her evasive gaze always made me a little suspicious. I never saw Emily wear new dresses, nor did Lily have any special new toys or clothes. I told myself maybe I was just too tired and becoming paranoid. I chose to trust, rather than question, and that blind trust paved the way for tragedy. I had a habit of checking our savings account every Sunday, a sacred ritual to ensure our dream was still alive. It was the money I called the Disney Fund. Every single dollar the fruit of my labor and Emily's agreement. We had accumulated almost $10,000, a proud milestone. I could vividly imagine Lily cheering on a Disney roller coaster, her face radiant under the Florida sun. But then, one fateful Sunday evening, as I opened the banking app, I was stunned. My hands trembled. The account only showed $8,000. A mistake, or a system error. I logged out and back in, but the number remained unchanged. $8,000. $2,000 had vanished in just a few weeks. A chilling sensation ran down my spine. "Honey, was there any big expense I don't know about?" I asked Emily, trying to keep my voice calm even though my heart was churning like a stormy sea. Emily was washing dishes in the kitchen, her back to me. "No, nothing much. Just bought some school supplies for Lily and a few bits and bobs for the house." Her voice had a strange quality, like a string pulled too tight, or as if she was trying to hide something. I didn't believe it. School supplies. A few bits and bobs. There's no way that would cost $2,000. I quietly, my hands shaking, opened my computer and checked the bank statement in more detail. Each transaction line appeared like blades cutting into my eyes. Dozens of transactions, silk dresses, sparkling jewelry, expensive home decor I'd never seen. High-end cosmetics, totaling over $2,000. Some items were bought just yesterday. Online store addresses I'd never heard of, items I'd never seen Emily use. Our family's dream money, the money I sweated to earn, had been spent on meaningless things, and more importantly, purchased secretly, deceptively. "What have you done, Emily?" I asked, my voice breaking as we sat at the kitchen table under the faint yellow light. Lily sound asleep in her room. "We had a plan. This was for Lily. For us. How could you do this?" I had kept my composure to the maximum. Anger and disappointment were surging, but I still tried to suppress them, so Lily wouldn't wake up. She bowed her head, her eyes welling up. I thought she would apologize, explain, try to make amends, but no. I needed something for myself. "Mark, you're always just about saving." I felt like I wasn't myself anymore. Her words were like a knife twisting in my heart. I worked 12 hours a day, my back aching, my hands calloused, coming home exhausted, all for a better future for our family. I thought she understood. I thought we were a team. But no, she saw it as control, as confinement. "So you lied. You took our money to buy, what, some meaningless items?" I didn't shout, but the hurt made my voice tremble, almost breaking. The meaningless items Emily spoke of were my daughter's dream. They were our home. They were everything I had built, Emily snapped back, her voice high-pitched, full of defiance. "You never cared about how I felt? Did you ever ask what I wanted? It was always just money, money, money and your crazy plans." I was stunned. I had tried my best working overtime, fixing neighbors' windows for extra cash, spending time teaching Lily to tie her shoes, taking her to the park every weekend. I thought that was how I loved her, how I showed my care for this family. I thought my efforts were enough for her to feel loved and cherished. But for Emily, it wasn't enough. That night's argument brought out all the resentment we had hidden for so long, like an infected wound that had to burst open. She said I controlled every penny, didn't give her personal space, didn't let her breathe. I saw her as selfish, only thinking of herself without regard for our daughter's future, without regard for the sweat I had poured. I suggested marriage counseling. I truly wanted to save everything, to understand what was happening with Emily, to find the root of this problem, but she brushed it off, saying I was the problem, that I was too calculating, too practical. She said I had killed the romance and joy in her life. I fell silent. I didn't know what else to say. The room was engulfed in cold silence, only Emily's sobs and the sound of my heart breaking. After that night, everything only got worse. I thought that was rock bottom. But no, it was just the beginning. Emily no longer hid things. The packages arrived openly, piling up on the porch like a challenge. Every time I saw them, it was like seeing Lily's smile at Disney World disappear, seeing the sandcastles we had built crumble beneath our feet. Each shoebox was a stab. Each designer bag was a brick falling from our dream home. I retreated to the garage, tinkering with tools, just to avoid facing her, to avoid seeing her empty eyes or her defiant expression. I didn't want Lily to see her parents fighting, didn't want her to feel the tension that permeated the house, but children are sensitive. Her question, "Why don't you hug mommy anymore?" made me want to collapse. I just held Lily tightly, inhaled the scent of her hair, and tried to swallow my tears. I had to be strong, at least in front of her. The savings account stopped growing. Every Sunday, I still checked, but the number stayed put, or even slightly decreased as other unnamed expenses appeared. The Disney trip was canceled. I didn't have the courage to tell Lily. Every time she asked, "When do we go meet the Disney princesses, Daddy?" I'd find an excuse to avoid the question. The dream of a new house became a thing of the past. This small 2-story house was no longer a launching pad for the future, but a cage of disappointment and pain. I tried to forgive. I tried to think of the early days of our love, the promises, the difficulties we had overcome together. I thought love could heal all wounds, but each new package was a cruel reminder Emily had chosen something. I don't know what. Maybe the fleeting feeling of shopping, or something deeper, instead of our family. She chose a personal secret over transparency and a shared future. I couldn't live with the feeling of being betrayed, of being lied to like that, forever. I felt exhausted, both physically and mentally. I thought I had reached the bottom of my suffering when I discovered Emily's spending of our savings. I thought that was the limit of betrayal. But no, I was wrong. The pain had only just begun. Emily still held a bigger secret, a secret that, when exposed, not only completely shattered my last shred of trust, but almost crushed Lily's future and pushed me into financial ruin. A few weeks after that big argument, while I was still struggling to accept the truth about Emily's spending, another shock hit, far more terrifying. I received a call from the bank. The employee's voice was cold and serious. "Mr. Thompson, regarding the mortgage on your old house, it seems there's a problem." "What problem?" I asked, my heart pounding. I had handed over all the paperwork to Emily during the divorce process, and I believed she had completed the transfer of ownership and related debts. "No way," I said. "I'm divorced, and Emily kept the house." The bank employee paused for a moment, then said in a sympathetic yet firm tone, "Mr. Thompson, according to our records, that mortgage, or rather a second loan secured by the house itself, is still in both your names, and it's 3 months past due. The bank is initiating foreclosure proceedings." My head spun. A second loan. Secured by the house itself. I had no idea about this loan. I had never signed any papers related to such a loan. A feeling of horror enveloped me, colder than any November morning. "Can you give me the details?" I almost screamed. "I never agreed to that loan." She emailed me a statement. Every number, every line of text felt like burning marks on my skin. It was a large loan, over $50,000 taken out by Emily, using our house as collateral. The loan purpose stated home improvements, but I knew our house hadn't been improved at all. I had personally done all the repairs, and Lily, her dream, was still a distant fantasy. I stared at the name Emily Thompson on the document, next to her signature, and next to it, there was another signature, looking very much like mine. But I knew for sure it wasn't my signature. She had forged my signature. She had used our house, used my life's work to mortgage a huge loan that I knew nothing about. She had stolen not just money, but my honor and my financial future. This shock was even greater than her spending $2,000 from savings. This wasn't just financial betrayal. This was a betrayal of trust at the highest level. She didn't just ruin a dream, she almost ruined my finances and my life. I called my lawyer, an older man, gentle but very sharp. He listened patiently. "Mark, this is a serious case. Forging a signature is a criminal offense," he said. "We need to confront Emily immediately." That meeting took place at the lawyer's office. Emily arrived, her face still defiant and a little irritated. When my lawyer placed the loan statement in front of her, Emily flinched. "What's this?" she asked, pretending not to know. "This is the $50,000 loan you took out, mortgaging the house and forging Mark's signature," my lawyer said coldly, his voice unyielding. "The bank is preparing to foreclose, without an immediate solution. Both Mark and you will lose the house and face serious legal consequences." Emily looked at me, her eyes evasive. She started to cry, but I no longer saw remorse in it, only fear of being cornered. I just needed some money. You didn't give me any. I needed financial independence. I felt like I wasn't myself anymore." She repeated her tired old excuse. $50,000 for financial independence by forging your husband's signature and almost putting your entire family out on the street. I couldn't hold back anymore. My voice trembled with anger and pain. "What did you do with that money? Was it those meaningless packages? Was it for those superficial things that you were willing to destroy this whole family?" Emily bowed her head. I invested it. I thought it would make a profit. I wanted something of my own, not dependent on you, not controlled by you." She whispered, but her words were like stones crushing my chest. Invested $50,000 from a forged loan, and she wanted independence by destroying her own and her daughter's future. "So what was the result of your investment?" my lawyer asked, his voice full of skepticism. Emily stammered, It didn't go well. I was scammed. Scammed $50,000, vanished. The money for the house, the money for the dream, money I had no idea was borrowed." "What about Lily?" I asked, my voice breaking, despair rising within me. "Where will Lily go when the house is foreclosed? What about her Disney dream?" Emily remained silent, avoiding my gaze. I realized she wasn't remorseful. She only regretted being caught. That was when I understood that the woman I had once loved and trusted completely had vanished. Or perhaps she had never truly existed as I had thought. This truth was more painful than her petty spending. It was a fatal blow to my trust. Sometimes, you have to choose between holding on to something broken and freeing yourself. I had held on through the cracks, but when the betrayal became too much, I knew it was time to let go. One bitterly cold November morning, with frost blanketing the pathways and barren trees, it was a few weeks after the forged loan secret came to light. Our house was no longer a home, but a huge burden, a symbol of deceit. I looked at Emily, the woman I had once promised to love forever, who had built so many dreams with me. But now, she was a stranger, hiding too many secrets and betrayals. Every connection between us had snapped. "I can't continue," I said, my voice flat but my heart shattered. "I no longer see us, no longer a family. The trust is gone. Emily, everything is lost." She didn't argue, just nodded, her eyes empty. Perhaps she had known this would come. Or perhaps she truly no longer cared. The divorce papers were filed before Christmas. That winter, there were no joyful Christmas songs, only heavy silence and quiet tears. We were forced to work with the bank to prevent the house from being foreclosed. Ultimately, I had to take on the entire debt to protect the asset I had worked so hard to build, and to spare Emily from criminal charges, though I knew she deserved to pay the price. It was a huge burden, $50,000 plus interest. For a construction worker like me, that was a fortune, a debt that could haunt me for the rest of my life. The old house was sold to pay off part of the debt, and I accepted the meager remaining amount, though it was nothing compared to what was lost. All dreams of a new house, of a bright future for Lily, all vanished like soap bubbles. I had to work double, triple shifts, taking any job to earn extra money to pay off the debt. The more I worked, the more exhausted I felt, both physically and mentally. Now, sitting alone in this apartment, I look at the old family photo on the shelf, a picture of the three of us at a park last summer. Lily on my shoulders, Emily smiling brightly beside me. I wonder if I could have done things differently if I had asked her more, if I had been less rigid, if I had given her something for herself in a different way. But then I remember the packages, the lies, and the pain resurfaces. Emily said she needed something for herself, but she took everything from me, my trust, my dreams, and the house that was once our home. I just hope Lily, my daughter, will never have to pay the price for such secrets. She deserves a bright future, not overshadowed by the darkness of deceit. I will do everything to protect her dream. Life is a journey full of surprises. You can't know what will happen. You can't control the actions of others. The only thing you can do is how you face them, and how you protect what you love. Lily started showing different behaviors. She became quieter, less playful after Emily and I separated. Sometimes, I'd see her sitting alone in a corner of her room, whispering to her doll, "Where's Mommy? Daddy? Does Mommy still love me?" Those questions tore my heart apart. I tried to reassure her, tried to make up for it in every way I could. I took her to the park more often, bought her new toys, told her fairy tales. But I knew nothing could replace the presence of a mother in a child's heart. One evening, as I was tucking Lily into bed, she suddenly asked, "Daddy, my friend Anna in class went to Disney World. When do I get to go?" Her voice was full of innocence and anticipation. I froze. I hadn't had the courage to tell her the trip had been canceled. I had avoided it every time she brought it up, but now, that direct question was like a knife. I hugged her tightly, feeling her small shoulders tremble. Daddy, sorry, sweetie," I whispered. We'll have to wait a little longer. Daddy's trying his best." I didn't dare tell her the truth. I didn't want to completely shatter the trust and dreams in those clear eyes. How could I tell her that her mother had stolen that dream by forging her father's signature and putting the family into debt? I couldn't. I tried to keep the secret of the huge debt from Emily. I didn't want Lily to know how bad her mother's actions had been. But the financial burden grew heavier on my shoulders. I had to sell my old pickup truck, the one that had been with me through so many construction sites. I had to cancel the life insurance policy I had bought for Lily's future. Everything became harder than ever. I worked non-stop, from early morning until late at night, just to pay off debts and make ends meet. I grew thin, my eyes always red from lack of sleep. Single parenthood exhausted me. Being a father, a mother, and carrying debt, I felt like a string stretched to its limit. Some nights, after Lily was asleep, I'd sit alone in the cold kitchen, staring at the bank statements, the debt figures dancing before my eyes. I asked myself, why? Why did Emily do that? Did she really need something for herself, so much that she had to destroy everything we had built together? I investigated. I talked to a few of Emily's old friends, people I hadn't been in touch with much after she became distant. One friend, Sarah, told me about Emily's obsession with money and appearance. Sarah said Emily always felt pressured to have the best things like her wealthier friends, who frequently bragged about their travels, designer items, and luxurious homes on social media. Emily always felt she wasn't enough, wasn't worthy. She said she wanted something to show off. Mark, Sarah said, her voice full of regret. She felt lost when everyone around her seemed more successful than her. She started looking into get-rich-quick investments online, tempting offers promising huge profits in just a few months. She hid it from you, and she got scammed. That $50,000, it vanished into the pockets of online fraudsters. I was stunned. So, it wasn't just meaningless shopping, it was a scam. A desperate attempt to prove herself, to catch up to the illusions on social media. Emily, the woman I once thought was grounded and simple, had gotten caught in the trap of superficiality and blind ambition. She wanted a sparkling life like her friends, and was willing to trade everything for it. Even her daughter's dream and my trust, the anger and disappointment surged again, stronger than ever. But this time, it was mixed with a touch of bitterness, a touch of pity. Emily was also a victim, but a victim who had brought tragedy upon others. I decided not to tell Lily about any of this. She didn't need to bear the pain of her mother's weaknesses and mistakes. I would be the shield, protecting her from life's storms. I would do everything to preserve her innocence and her dreams. Life is a journey full of surprises. You can't know what will happen. You can't control the actions of others. The only thing you can do is how you face them, and how you protect what you love. The months that followed were a relentless battle. I worked like a machine. In the mornings, I took Lily to preschool, then rushed to the construction site. In the afternoons, I picked her up, came home to prepare dinner, helped her with homework, and then continued with odd jobs late into the night. I learned to cook, do laundry, and clean the house. I learned to listen to Lily more, to understand her hidden fears and desires. Lily still often mentioned Disney World. "Daddy, when will our Disney fund have enough money?" she asked, her voice full of hope. I always smiled, though my heart ached. "Soon, sweetie. Daddy's trying his best." I had cut all unnecessary expenses. I even sold some beloved work tools to get more money to pay off the debt. Every dollar earned was prioritized for paying down that huge loan, and a small portion went into a new, secret savings account, solely for Lily's Disney trip. This time, I managed it myself. I wouldn't let anyone, not even Emily, destroy that dream again. I almost collapsed a few times. Some nights, I was too tired to sleep. Financial worries, the pain of betrayal, and loneliness enveloped me. I remembered the Emily of old, the woman who had dreamed of a future with me, but that image was now blurred by the shadow of secrets and lies. Never underestimate the strength of a father. When your children are everything, you will find strength from the deepest part of your soul. On a bright Sunday morning, I woke up early and prepared breakfast for Lily. She woke up, rubbed her eyes, and looked at me with sleepy eyes. "Daddy, where are we going today?" "Today, we have a big surprise. Lily," I said, trying to hide the emotion in my voice. I had worked tirelessly for the past 2 years. The enormous debt was almost entirely paid off, and Lily's secret Disney fund was full. We arrived at Denver Airport. Lily looked around in surprise. "Daddy, where are we going?" I knelt down, looking directly into my daughter's clear eyes. "My Lily, do you remember the Princess Castle? Do you remember Princess Ariel?" "Belle," her eyes lit up. "Yes." "Daddy, are we really going to Disney World?" I nodded, tears starting to roll down my cheeks. "Yes, sweetie, we're going to Disney World. Daddy promised." Lily's face brightened. She jumped up and hugged me tightly. "I love you so much, Daddy." Her laughter echoed through the airport waiting area, like a melody dispelling all the pain and exhaustion I had endured. In that moment, I knew that every sacrifice, every hardship, was worth it. My life with Lily continued. I was still a construction worker, still carrying the remaining debt, but I no longer felt lonely or exhausted. I had Lily, her smile, and faith in myself. I had learned a painful lesson about trust, about the cost of secrets, and about the power of unconditional love. As for Emily, I no longer have contact with her. Occasionally, I hear from mutual friends that she is struggling with her life, still trapped in cycles of illusion and dissatisfaction. I no longer resent her. There's only regret for a love that died and a future that never materialized. After the Disney trip, Lily returned to school with new energy. She told her friends about the princesses, about the adventures. Seeing her happy, I knew I had done the right thing. But for me, the scar in my heart remains. Losing trust in the person you once loved most is a terrible emptiness. Some nights, I still wake up with a start, drenched in sweat, haunted by the images of bank statements and forged signatures. I realized that to truly move on, I needed to confront myself, my fears, and my hurts. I started seeking out a support group for single fathers. There, I heard similar stories, and I also had the chance to share my own heart. For the first time, I could speak about everything I had been through without feeling ashamed or weak. It was a painful process, but necessary. I learned that I wasn't alone, and that seeking help wasn't a sign of weakness, but of strength. I also started focusing more on my work. I decided not just to be a construction worker, but to become an independent contractor. I started spending time learning more about project management, about construction finance. I wanted to build a more solid career, not just for myself, but for Lily's future. I didn't want her to have to struggle like I had. I wanted her to see that no matter how difficult life gets, we can still get back up and rebuild everything. My continuous learning and work helped me divert my attention from the pain. I found joy in every small project, in seeing walls go up, houses being completed, every brick I laid. I no longer just envisioned my own home, but a stable future for Lily. I had turned pain into motivation. Life always has unexpected turns. Sometimes, one door closes, but another will open. The important thing is whether you have the courage to walk through it. As time passed, Lily grew up day by day. She's in elementary school now, and still a lovely, smart little girl. Lily is all I have. We have movie nights together, weekend mornings cycling around the neighborhood. I'm not just her dad, I'm her best friend. I've tried to make up for all the hardships she endured because of our family's breakdown. I sold the old rental apartment and bought a house a little smaller than our old one, but this time it's a house I truly own, free from any secrets. I'm personally renovating it, little by little, with Lily's help. She loves helping me paint her room or plant small flowers in the garden. This house isn't as grand as the original dream, but it's our home, built on a foundation of honesty and love. I still make it a habit to check the savings account every Sunday, but now that money is solely for Lily, for her future, for her college education or any dream she wants to pursue. I'm no longer obsessed with hitting huge numbers. Instead, I focus on living a balanced, meaningful life. I've realized that money is just a means. Happiness is the ultimate goal. I've learned to love myself more, not for what I can build, but for what I've overcome. And I've realized another important thing: secrets, big or small, always come at a price. It can be money, trust, happiness, or even an entire family. The truth, no matter how painful, is always better than a lie wrapped in secrets, because only by facing the truth can we truly heal and move forward. I'm telling this story not to complain or to cast blame. I'm telling it to share a lesson I paid a very high price for. A lesson about transparency, about trust, and about protecting what truly matters in life. Folks, this life is full of temptations, invisible pressures from society, from what we see on social media. Don't let those superficial things blind you, causing you to lose sight of true values. Happiness isn't about luxury items or showing off, it's about simple moments with family, a child's smile, the trust you place in each other. Cherish what you have, talk openly with each other, don't let secrets eat away at trust, and always protect the dreams of your loved ones, especially your children. We, as fathers and mothers, are the guardians of our children's dreams. Don't let anything, any secret, destroy that sacred bond. If my story has touched your heart, if you've experienced similar pain, or have thoughts you'd like to share, please leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your stories. Please, like this story if you found it meaningful. Share it with those you think need to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss the next stories. Thank you all so much for listening.